All right, so here's how you can get at least a 6.5% opt-in rate for your Klaviyo form. These are the exact strategies that I use to get my clients a minimum of 6.5%. So yeah, before we begin, here's some results that I've gotten for some of my clients. Some of these have resulted in up to a 94% increase in welcome flow revenue just by increasing the number of people that actually go through it via the sign-up form. So 6.5%, according to Klaviyo data, is considered an extremely high performing opt-in rate. 1 to 3% is considered to be like kind of the average or a successful opt-in rate. And you can click that link here if you want to see some proof on that. So yeah, here's some results I've gotten for clients: 7.5%, 7.7%, 9.4%. So I've been able to do this on a repeatable basis for all of my clients. So here's kind of what we're going to go over. We're going to go over the significance of your sign-up form. We're going to go over understanding the context of your site traffic, tactics I use to get the 6.5% opt-in rate, and then obviously A/B testing, split testing, different strategies from there on out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the sign-up form is the most significant part of your entire email marketing strategy. Most e-com brands just throw a Klaviyo form up with a random offer and no strategy behind it. The result is an underperforming form that you literally cannot pay someone to sign up for. The worst part is they don't even know that they're doing it. They don't even know the significance of the revenue that's being flushed down the drain every single month. So here I made this quick example just to kind of go over and help visualize the importance of these sign-up forms. So in column one here, we have an unoptimized sign-up form that's converting at 3% opt-in rate. We have versus one that's converting at 6.5% opt-in rate. As you may imagine, this is over twice the people going through the flow, through your welcome flow, over twice the amount of emails you're capturing, and over twice the amount of contacts you can contact for the rest of the time. So value in that intrinsically, but then also, the number of people that are going through your welcome flow are going to inherently result in more revenue. So if we use an example, say we have an average conversion rate on the welcome flow of 10%, if we're at a 3% opt-in rate, you're going to be looking at about $6,300 per month. But, if you optimize that sign-up form, you really get a good offer in there. The things that I tell you to do in this document here, you could be converting at least to 6.5%, which in theory, hypothetically, would be over twice the revenue. So, and this is all like not to mention the repeat purchases that these customers would make throughout their life cycle. So if you really want to see the impact of this, you could replace average order value with lifetime value and see what the lifetime value of this change would be. And there's really no higher ROI task than getting these things dialed in the first time. All right, so now that we understand the significance, we got to understand our site traffic. Most of you are going to skip this step, but it's the most crucial thing whenever you're signing up, whenever you're doing your pop-up form. Skipping this step is like writing copy without doing any research on what you're selling. You're relying on wishful thinking, hoping Peter Pan will sprinkle some pixie dust on the sign-up form, magically boosting it to a 10% opt-in rate. To better understand the context of how traffic arrived at your site and what the traffic knows about your brand, you need to ask yourself the following questions. Where is my site traffic coming from? And then 2, what information do these visitors know about my brand pre-existingly? By consciously considering the sources of your traffic, you can better assess the awareness level your visitors have regarding your product or brand. So here's a chart I made. These are just some different ways that somebody could arrive at your website. You have through social media, organic search, paid ads, referral. You could just directly type in your link. And so all these people arrive at your site with different understandings and contexts with your brand, with your product. And so I've made these 2 examples below to kind of show you how understanding site traffic is important and how it could be used in different ways depending on where the site traffic originates from. So in example 1, we have 80% of your site traffic coming from paid advertising. These visitors have been targeted based on specific demographics, interests, or behaviors. They've responded to a direct call to action and are likely aware of what you're selling already. Offers should be straightforward, incentivize immediate action, as these visitors have already shown interest by clicking your ad. Consider offering a significant discount or a special deal like a percentage off their first purchase, or just reiterate if the ad already had an offer in it, just reiterate that to those people that saw the ad. In example 2, we have 80% of site traffic coming from organic search. These visitors have found your site likely by searching for a product or solution you offer. They're more likely to be in the research phase and not yet familiar with your brand. Offers should be value-based and build trust. For example, offering a free guide, webinar, and tips related to your product can be effective, aka a lead magnet. In this instance, your lead is not aware of what you sell and how it's different from other people that might sell a similar product or solution, and if they're going, or even if they're going to purchase. Do you think they'll want a discount popping up immediately when they enter your website? Do you think they will enter their email not even knowing if your product is potentially what they need? In all seriousness, the answer is it depends on your product. And these are things that we can test in step 4 here, but we'll get to that later. But now I hope you seeing this and how we can present offers in the pop-up form to different forms of site traffic is important, and it's important to understand that. You need to know your audience as well as you can with the data points you're provided. All right, now we get on to the fun part, the tactics. So I'm not going to go into how you can design a good looking pop-up or how to make it look pretty and all that stuff. You can figure that out, or you can outsource it easily. What you're probably really interested in is the tactics that are going to get you to the 6.5% opt-in form that you could do yourself. So the following are non-negotiables that take priority over everything related to your sign-up form. Don't worry about anything else until these 3 things are done. So first is considering your offer. Obviously, you need some sort of offer, a discount, a lead magnet, a special perk your company offers, free shipping, buy one, get one deal, early access to sales, giveaway, a contest, you name it. So I left some examples below. They're all simple, straightforward, to the point, well-designed. And being well-designed helps, but it isn't a must. It serves as more of like a pattern interrupt or a visual stimulant that'll increase opt-in rate by default, but it's not what's going to like be a huge needle mover initially. So here's some good ones. You can check these out if you're following along in the document. It's a link below. And some of you are looking at these examples and saying like, this is what my pop-up already looks like. There's nothing special about these. If you already have a pop-up that looks like these, then I encourage you to split test different offers if you haven't already. And you can optimize for things like customer acquisition cost, profitability, and obviously opt-in rate. We'll go more into this later, but here's an example. So current offer is 15% off. You could try a new offer that's $15 off, and all else remaining equal. Your average discount for the 15% off would be $22.50. For the new discount, it would be $15. So your generous discount is boosting opt-in rates, but is also reducing profit and increasing CAC. Not good. Switching from 15% to $15 off maintains the perceived value of the offer, but you save $7.50 per order. This increases your profit, lowers your CAC, and without any change to opt-in rate. So this is an example of how you could optimize for other things as well, other than opt-in rate. All right, next thing is your form needs to have one input. What do I mean by one input? Some of your forms look like this, where you're asking for their full name, mother's maiden name, social security, email, phone number. You know, you're asking for the kitchen sink. You're asking for everything but the kitchen sink. This is not the way. I get it. You want your subscribers to have the most personalized experience possible. You want them to call them by their names. You want to call out their interests in emails. And while this can be good when done effectively, most don't do it effectively. You'll be harming your opt-in rate in a huge way, and honestly, you can get a comparable personalized approach by just segmenting your list effectively. Your form needs to capture one input, such as their email or their phone number, not both. You're making it way harder for your lead to give you your email or your phone number when you do this. It makes zero sense. So always one input. Lastly is the X intent sign-up form. One of the most overlooked and needle-moving strategies to get your Klaviyo form, and nobody does it. Funny part is it's literally just a button. So there's a little more to it, but X intent is essentially a separate form to your regular one that will trigger whenever someone's about to leave your website. So it's kind of a last-ditch effort. Think of it as like a site abandonment form. Some people like to play it simple and just reiterate the form that was already presented, or some people like to increase the offer from, say, 15 to 20%. To make it even more enticing of an offer. If you do this, be sure to change your design and change your copy to reflect that, so that they are aware it's a new offer and not what was previously shown to them. The average opt-in rate for a X intent sign-up form is 3.87%, according to a WisePop study with over 513 million email pop-ups displayed. Some of them converted as well as 19.63%. And this is on top of your already your form that's already converting at 6.5%. Targeting behavior. These are rules and logic that you can use to show your site traffic the most relevant pop-up form possible. You'll see how below. All right, so first we got URL-based triggers. I don't typically go crazy with these, but they certainly help for pages that are visited the most. Basically, these forms trigger only when a site visitor visits a certain page or URL. This is extremely helpful if you have a few pages on a website that are extremely high traffic compared to the rest of your site. Normally, these are individual product pages or collections. What I'll do for the top 3 most visited pages on your website, obviously excluding your home page, is create a highly targeted pop-up just for those specific pages based on the content of the page. This is a way to target and segment based on your traffic's behavior with your website, leading to a much higher converting pop-up form than typical. This way the pop-up aligns with the product or collection they're already browsing. Here's what it looks like in Klaviyo. And then just a warning. You don't want to get out of hand with these. You don't want to get out of hand with these. Don't go making a different pop-up for every single page on your site. It's going to end up doing the opposite, and it's going to deter site traffic instead of capture it. Be vigilant. Keep track of the reporting on the sign-up form. Make sure that there's no engagement loss or form exhaustion. All right, next we got UTM tracking triggers. These are my favorite. Similar to URL-based triggers, these forms will trigger when a certain UTM parameter is recognized, so a tracking link. This essentially allows you to target your pop-up based on the where the site traffic came from. It's one of the most powerful tools Klaviyo has, and since we did our research back in step 2, we know in general all site traffic has a different journey depending on how they stumbled on your site. We can now target a pop-up form based on the specific ad that the customer saw, and continue the thought the user clicked on, or make a specific offer based on the ad's content. We can do the same with all sorts of site traffic as long as it's got a tracking link. Here's what it looks like in Klaviyo. Okay, and then we got location triggers. It's pretty much just what it sounds like. Location triggers only show a form if a visitor is in a certain specified area. These I don't use as much, but they're worth mentioning and are especially useful if you have offers for only people in certain countries. So here's what it looks like in Klaviyo, and a quick example would be if you offer free shipping only to U.S. residents, make a form that targets only people in the U.S., and then for all other visitors that are outside of the U.S., you can give them a different offer on the sign-up form, whether that's a percentage off, dollar amount off, or whatever else you'd like it to be. Get a free product, something like that. Okay, now my favorite part, the psychological tactics using cognitive bias. There are tons of psychological tactics you can use that aren't mentioned below, but these are the 3 I've had the most success with. First is commitment bias. This is my favorite and, in my opinion, the most effective. It's a bias that if your lead takes a stand on an issue, they must remain consistent in their stance. I have a real-world example here you can go through if you'd like to, but in relation to an email sign-up form, it's about getting that initial yes, then asking them for their email after the site visitor already commits to saying yes. So it looks something like this. Do you want 20% off your next order? Yes or no? They click yes, and then discount unlocked, enter the email. Simple as that, works like a charm. Second is the bandwagon effect. It's essentially if a large enough group holds a favorable opinion on a product or offering, then the opinion must be correct by default. A way we can use this tactic in a pop-up form is including how many subscribers are on our list, the number of happy customers we purchased, a famous person who has endorsed your product, or an image of your ICP using whatever it is you sell. Site visitors will identify with what they see, which will leave them more inclined to opt in. So here's an example of this. Join 60,302 sales leaders. They're from companies like LinkedIn, SalesLoft, and Discover.org. They get our best posts every week to have better sales conversations. Want to join them? Simple, one input, one button to subscribe. Very simple. All right. Last is our loss aversion bias. This is based on the idea that the pain of losing is psychologically more impactful than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. We can use this bias by being sure to specify what the visitor loses out on as a result of not opting in. We want to use wording like sign up for your 20% off coupon or pay full price, or get 10 secrets to successful investing for free, or keep losing money in the stock market. By directly stating what they stand to lose, the offer becomes more enticing. Example would be, want 20% off your next order? Yes, I want 20% off, or no, I'll pay full price. Make it clear that by not stating the 20% off, they will end up paying full price later once they make their purchasing decision. All right, now we're on to number 4, how to split test your sign-up form. Now, none of these tactics I just mentioned matter if you don't split test your offer, design, copy, logic, pretty much everything we spoke about up until this point. So what do you test and when? The answer can be a little bit arbitrary because every brand is different and what works with one brand might not work with others. So I encourage you to start off with a very simple baseline template form that will be easy to iterate off of. No need for targeted forms or anything advanced like that right now. The best thing you can do right now is just get your form live. Every day you don't have your form live, you are losing money, and then you can split test. When we start split testing, this is the things I would do in this exact order in general. One, we want to start with your main form. Use one of the pre-existing Klaviyo templates and just alter it to be congruent with your branding, etc. Second, we want your targeting behavior to look something like this in these screenshots. This will give you a great baseline when first starting out. From this, we can then test the following things in this order in general. Every brand is different, of course. So two, after we have our sign-up forms set up and congruent with our branding, we want to test our offers. Test different offers one at a time. I normally test 5 offers or so and go with whatever has the best opt-in rate. This will ensure your offer is solid and resonates with your site visitors. By far, this is the most important thing to test, so it's absolutely vital you optimize this to the best of your ability. Once you have your offer optimized, everything else is supplemental and is meant to get more eyes on your offer in a way that's more relevant to them. Typically, a good test population I've seen is about 1,000 to 2,000 form views, but some may not have that kind of site traffic. So typically, if you don't have that kind of site traffic, I would test for about a week or so, and that way results aren't as skewed based on just happenstance, and they're not statistically significant. So things I test, it's like a buy one get one deal, free shipping, lead magnet, percentage off, dollar amount off, percentage off plus shipping. You know, you can be creative with this, and but these are typically the 6 that I stick with. So number 3 is testing your logic. Now that you have proof of concept that your offer is solid, you can scale up your exit intent sign up form and more targeted forms. This is the next highest ROI thing you can do. Now, what do you test? You can test time delays, UTM tracking forms, URL triggered forms, location based forms, and your exit intent sign up forms. So pretty much everything we spoke about in the targeting behavior section. Test a lot of stuff, see what happens, and then just iterate off of that. Number 4, we want to test your form design. So design can include things like how your form appears on different devices, mobile or desktop, the font sizes, font style, images, things like that that are going to visually enhance the form. I've found that this is the lowest ROI thing to do just on tests that I've done, but it's worth taking a look at once all the other stuff is taken care of. Things you can test are the images you're using, a flyout versus a pop-up versus a teaser style form, size of form based off of the device that they're visiting on, colors of fonts, font sizes, and different call to actions. So this is typically how I'll test a form. It takes time, but you'll almost never get a 6.5% opt-in rate right off the bat. It normally is a matter of testing different things, seeing what works, iterating off of that, and then kind of just continuously doing that to better optimize the form. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today. If you want to work together or want a free audit of your email strategy, I'm happy to do that for you. Just book a call right here at this calendar form linked in the document, or I'll link it in the description of this video if that's easier. And yeah, we can chat about it, see if I can help you. If we can, we'll talk about numbers, talk about everything else. So yeah, have a great rest of your day.